Star Wars today feels like it lives in two timelines. One filled with loyal fans still showing up, still celebrating, and another that feels jaded, burned, disappointed. This is embodied in the online war that occurred during the weekly release of The Acolyte in 2024. But here's the thing, Star Wars isn't broken, it just needs a reset. And Disney, the company holding the keys to the galaxy, actually can fix the perception. Not with a new movie, not with a flashy crossover, but by doing a few key things better. Welcome back to Kybercore. Today, we look at how Disney can earn back the benefit of the doubt and bring balance to the fandom once again. A tough ask, some may say, but one which is necessary for a structured future of what reputation-wise should be the world's most influential franchise. When Disney acquired Star Wars, they hit the ground running. Big screen releases in 3 consecutive years, spin-offs, animated shows, streaming series, theme parks, and merch drops. The Force went from dormant to everywhere. And at first, it worked. The Force Awakens made $2 billion in the box office. Rogue One brought edge and acted as the perfect standalone story. But then came Solo, followed up by The Last Jedi. And suddenly fatigue set in, and Star Wars, after 10 years out the game, had lost its specialness. Unlike Marvel, which thrives on fast-paced content drops, Star Wars was always mythic, event-driven. Fans need time to miss it, to crave it. Disney needs to let Star Wars breathe, and use that time to create meaningful stories. The word binge isn't in its DNA. One of the biggest criticisms of the sequels? No cohesive plan. Directors changed, visions clashed, the tone shifted wildly from film to film. Compare that to George Lucas, methodical and driven by a story-first mindset. He wrote the original trilogy with mythological structure in mind and outlined all 6 films before the prequels even began. Or even Marvel, where Kevin Feige mapped out phases years in advance. Star Wars fans don't need everything to connect, but they do need a sense that someone's steering the ship. With Kathleen Kennedy stepping down as president of Lucasfilm, it feels like we've reached a crossroad where the replacement will make or break the franchise's future. Disney's ideal solution to their problems? A new storytelling initiative, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni's Mandoverse, The High Republic, and a new Jedi Order film. If they treat this like long-form myth, not just regular content drops, perception will change. Planning builds trust, and trust is what Disney needs to earn back. Disney has struggled with one big thing, balancing nostalgia with new ideas. The Force Awakens was called too safe. The Last Jedi was called too radical. The Rise of Skywalker tried to please everyone and pleased almost no one. But here's the key. Star Wars doesn't need to repeat the old or reject it. It needs to build on it. Look at Andor. Brand new tone, brand new character depth, but set within the existing world. Or The Mandalorian. New lead, familiar lore. Star Wars fans are open to change if they feel it respects what came before with the legacy George left. Disney can win hearts, not by picking sides, but by embracing balance. There's a subtle but deadly shift happening in modern media. Studios are creating content, not stories. Star Wars, at its best, is myth, adventure, emotional journeys, the hero's path. But lately, there's a sense that projects are being greenlit because they fill a slot, not because they say something new. Boba Fett's return felt like an obligation. Obi-Wan's series had moments, but lacked cohesion and failed to respect the value of the characters being dealt with. Fans want Star Wars to mean something, and that's why Andor resonates. That's why people still rewatch Empire Strikes Back. Disney needs to empower storytellers, not just content producers. Writers with vision, directors with something to say. That's what brings fans back. Star Wars doesn't thrive when it's played safe. George Lucas took risks. The prequels may be clunky, but they are bold, singular, visionary. Disney, however, has a habit of playing defense. They pulled back after backlash, rewrite scripts mid-process, over-edit films to fit market research. But look at what happens when creatives are trusted. Tony Gilroy on Andor, Dave Filoni on The Clone Wars and Ahsoka. Even Rian Johnson, controversial as he was, made bold, authorial choices, and if he'd had control from start to finish in the sequels, we may be having a different conversation. If Disney wants to shift perception, they need to champion storytellers, let filmmakers lead, let stories breathe. That's how Star Wars becomes legendary again. The stories that Dave Filoni created during Star Wars Rebels still hold value today, and the fan-named Filoniverse or Mandoverse may be an opportunity to restore some of that legendary status lost over the last 10 years. We know that it's likely Dave Filoni is getting a Star Wars movie at some point in the near future, and it may hold the keys to a successful Star Wars under Disney by ending one chapter with Filoni's characters and creating room for something new and directional. This can truly be the endgame moment for Star Wars in a time period where Ahsoka, Mando, Grogu, Ezra, Sabine, and so many more fight together to finally take down Thrawn and deal a damaging blow to the Empire. And don't forget, these stories exist during the original trilogy, so don't rule out features for Luke or Vader again. One film won't change everything, but can act as a building block to start turning heads again. Disney's relationship with the Star Wars fandom is complicated. They want to listen, but sometimes that listening feels reactive. They want to build community, but often treat it like marketing. The key? Authenticity. Highlight creators. Support thoughtful criticism. Bring fans into the process, not just as customers, but as collaborators. Disney doesn't need to respond to every tweet, but they do need to foster a fandom that feels heard. Star Wars fans don't need to be coddled, just respected. And that shift starts from the top. Disney has done a lot right with Star Wars, but the perception problem is real. Luckily, it's not permanent. With smarter planning, with risk-taking creatives, with stories that mean something, Star Wars can once again be mythic. Not just a franchise, not just content, a galaxy worth believing in. If you enjoyed this, check out another Kyber Core discussion, and let me know in the comments, what should Disney do next with Star Wars?